I want to end this lecture on Descartes' meditations by looking at a criticism that is sometimes offered of Descartes' solution to the very external world skepticism that he introduces in his negative project. So a criticism that the positive project, in fact, doesn't work, that the negative project is so successful Descartes can't actually get out of the quandary that he has created for himself. This criticism is often called the Cartesian circle. And critics who offer up this problem for Descartes, they usually phrase it along the following lines. Look, you ascend from your skepticism by proving God's existence. So it's by proving God's existence you establish some connection between the ideas of sensation and the objects of the external world. You provide some basis through which your judgments about the objects or the ideas of sensation can in fact give you some insight into their distal causes in the external world. However, so this objection goes, your proof relies on epistemic principles that you can't justify until you've proven God's existence. And so your proof of God's existence can't be made until you've proven God's existence. Hence the idea that it's circular. So in general, the allegations of circular reasoning stem from Descartes' principle that whatever he perceives clearly and distinctly is true. Whatever the natural light reveals is true. And he assumes that this is true. But he does give us that pragmatic justification for accepting this principle. Now notice that that doesn't really establish it as a sound principle. It just establishes that there's no other faculty he has that could show him that clear and distinct perceptions are in fact not true. So people who offer this circular criticism of Descartes' reasoning, they say that Descartes seems to assume that clear and distinct perception guarantees truth, but he admits that it's an assumption, that in fact he can't know it in accordance with that positive principle of justification. Now later in the meditations, he seems to be able to give us a good argument here. Later in the meditations, Descartes answers that clear and distinct perception guarantees truth because God is not a deceiver. God would not allow Descartes to be mistaken about that which Descartes clearly and distinctly perceives. Yet this argument relies on Descartes successfully proving God's existence. Sadly, Descartes can't prove God's existence unless he assumes that his clear and distinct perceptions of both the assumptions of that argument and his reasoning in the steps of his proof are in fact guarantees that his proof is correct. So unless his clear and distinct perceptions, unless what the natural light reveals is guaranteed to be true, he can't prove God's existence, and hence he can't use God to show that those clear and distinct perceptions, those revelations of the natural light, are in fact true. So it looks like the principle of clear and distinct perception depends upon proving God's existence for its real epistemic status, which in turn depends upon the principle of clear and distinct perception. The revelations of the natural light are the very first premise in that proof of the existence of God that we find in Meditations 3. Hence, it looks as though Descartes is assuming his solution to external world skepticism in order to prove the existence of God, thereby giving him a more robust solution to the problem of external world skepticism. Oh yeah, and since I've been using Rod Sterling with a cigarette in his hand all this time, I should mention that smoking kills.